So, dear participants, welcome to all of you for this online AutoCAD course where we are learning about beginners to expert level complete AutoCAD skills. This is a part of the module 2, that is professional practice in civil engineering, where our target is to create a profile having 16 drawings, and these are the building drawings that professionally a civil engineer or architect need to create or give this to the customer. Now I know that when I have started the practice as a consulting civil engineer, so I need to prepare one of the drawing and then I will give it to my client and ask for the money. And in that way, during the whole process of 1 year where the construction was going on, so I am producing one drawing every week or 15 days, and I am asking for the consultancy fee, and thereby the parallel work was going on where I am preparing the AutoCAD drawings and details drawings for the working drawing for the execution of the work. So there, so many things are required, and all these things need to be designed properly by the civil engineer or architect, and the drawings need to be prepared so that drawings can be sent to the site, and on the site the site supervisor or the engineer in charge or the who is the contractor, civil contractor, he is reading that drawing and then accordingly the work was executed on the site. And this is required for all over the site, not only for the building drawing, but it is also required for the any type of infrastructure construction needed. So therefore the building drawing or creating a building drawing is one of the important tasks for every civil engineer. And in that respect, we are moving forward to learn the different skills one by one. And our target is to become an AutoCAD expert level operator, so that for your professional journey, if you want to continue, so you should be able to create a professional quality AutoCAD drawings. And that is the important step. After that, there may be so many other directions. Maybe there you can go for the 3D modeling and design, or then also you can go for structural design, or then also you can go for project management consultant, or that is a quantity estimation and costing and all these things. But the basic starts with the creation of the building drawing in AutoCAD. I know that when I have started the first class for the ITI students, that was in 2003. So first class, at that time the AutoCAD software was new, and many people are saying that after a few years AutoCAD will be not useful because there will be some other things will become. But still then the AutoCAD is a so powerful software. So till after 20 years also, the civil or construction industry or architecture industry or the various designers, they are using the AutoCAD software only. And that we have to understand that from last 25 years, the AutoCAD is used in the industry, and therefore it is very much essential that every civil engineer should have a good knowledge of creating the professional drawings in the AutoCAD. It may be for building or bridges or a structural design or any type of design. So in that respect, in previous yesterday's lecture, we have started with understanding the one of the important command in the AutoCAD, and that is about hatch. So I hope that with this initial discussion, if you are here and listening to me clearly, my audio is clear to all of you, so you can just type P for proceed in the chat box, and meanwhile then we will start our today's session. So just type P for proceed in the chat box and we will start for the today's session. So my screen is visible. I have shared my AutoCAD screen, and then we will proceed with the yesterday's learning. So just we have seen that the important command that we have learned yesterday, and that is about hatch command. So that is one of the important requirement for the hatch. So yesterday, you know that I will just try to open the yesterday's drawing. So there I will go here for the open a drawing, and that the hatch one drawing. So that I have opened, and that I have seen, you can see that this type of different hatching we can carry out. Now the important things need to be learned by you regarding this hatch pattern, so that whenever you are understanding or we are trying to hatch, so many times the hatch command become a headache for the engineer or draftsman, because you select the object, you pick the point, but hatching does not happens, and that there are some message in the AutoCAD. So to resolve this type of difficulties in the hatching, you must have a clear understanding of the hatch command. So in that, we have seen that in our draw menu panel, here you can see that the hatch command was shown. So with this hatch command, there are few other more commands are there, and that is about the gradient and the boundary. Now today we have to also focus on this gradient and boundary command. So here you will just see that in yesterday's lecture we have seen the hatch. So now the two things you have to remember. In the hatch, there are two things. Either you can pick a point or you can select an object. Means that we have to understand first. So suppose I have started this hatch command, and now in the hatch command, this dialog box appears. So there are two options are given here. Either here a pick point, means you have to click a point inside a enclosed area. So that area will get hatched. So that is the meaning of that pick point inside the boundary. So you can read this. So it requires a complete closed boundary. Then only you can make a hatch. So whenever you try to hatch in a particular area and it is does not happen, so it means that the boundary is not closed. So that is the one of the important difficulty you have to remember. So to resolve that, there is another option given in the hatch command, and that is you can select the boundary. So this is select the boundary object. So for making the hatching pattern, either you pick a point inside a closed boundary or you have to select the closed boundary. So now I am using this select boundary option. So you just see that I will just select this boundary. Means this rectangle was selected and the hatch was happened there, and then I can either click or another boundary, or I can press enter from the keyboard and the hatching was done. Now this hatching, if it is not properly appearing, so you can go on selecting that, and there you can try to change the scale. So I will type here, now the scale was 10. So you can see that now my hatching is little bit proper. So instead of that, I will go for 20. So now it is going again very much okay. I will type it for 50. So you can see that depending upon your area, but you have to remember that because I have selected this boundary. So this one was the boundary I have selected. So AutoCAD has ignored all other boundaries inside this, and he has only hatched into this pattern only. So that thing you have to remember. So you can make the selection of the boundary or you can click inside. Now same, I will delete this pattern. Sorry, I will just delete this hatch pattern. So I will select this hatch and delete. Now there are so many boundaries are there, you can just see. Now what happened? I will go to hatch command. Now in the hatch command, I will click a pick point. So now when I have clicked the pick point and I will click it here, so you can see that the particular boundary was getting. So I will click here, or you can click here, or you can click here, or you can click here. So wherever in the area where there is a closed boundary, so that area will get hatched. So I will just click here. So that much part was hatched. Now you can see that here the inside portion was not provided with the hatch. So that is the important thing, that pick point gives you the only the enclosed area here which is within the boundary. But when we select the pick object, select object, so in the select object, whatever the boundary may be there, the select object boundary will also get selected. So this important thing you have to remember with this hatch pattern. Now there is another important thing you have to learn about the hatch. Now what I will do here, I will draw one of the circle here inside this rectangle. And now then I have to hatch this. So I will draw again one here. I will draw ellipse here. We will try ellipse. So here one ellipse, small ellipse we will draw. Yes, and we will reduce the size of that ellipse also. Yes, and this is a one of the circle. So now within this, suppose we will also have one of the rectangle. So I will just draw one rectangle here, and now we will try to hatch. So what happened? We have to make the simple hatch pattern. So I will go to hatch command. In the hatch command, I will select the pattern from here, and that is the most popular pattern is ANSI 31. That is hatching lines at 45-degree angle. So this hatch pattern I have taken, and now I have clicked here. So this I am picking the point. So you can see, observe the changes on the cursor. Now the cursor is pointing cursor, only plus symbol is appearing, no box was there. So this is a pointing cursor, means you have to click a point inside this any area. So you click here, so only that ellipse will get hatch. If you click here, circle will get hatch, or if you rectangle, so rectangle will get hatch, or otherwise if you click here, so then the area remaining that will be get hatched. So in this way, I am just trying this hatching. Now because I have hatched that, I will press the enter, and now hatching was done. So I have to adjust the scale. So for adjusting the scale, there are 2-3 important steps. So what I will do now, I will copy this, and we will create 2-3 copies of this drawing. Move and copy, and now I will just paste it here, and again here. Now what I have done, just you see that now this was the regular hatch, but I will delete this. Here also we will make the hatching. But what at this time, what I will do, I will start the hatch command, and now I will just type here the scale. Now because you are knowing the already scale, so I can just type here 20. Now I have typed the scale in this property dialog box. So this is a hatch creation ribbon bar. This is a hatch creation ribbon bar appearing here. So this is the sub menu. You can just say hatch creation sub menu was there. So with this sub menu, you can just type the scale, and then you click the pick point. Now in this way, I will just click it here. So you can now see that my hatch pattern is very proper. So I have just given the scale earlier. So that also you can adjust. Now whenever we select this hatch, so this hatch dialog box appears. So again there we have to understand, you can select your particular scale, or you can select your pattern also here. So there are 3 types of patterns are there in the AutoCAD. That is, one is solid, so that is full color. Another is pattern, means different patterns for hatching you can use, and another is also a gradient. So that also we will see tomorrow. But here the another important thing that we have to learn in the today's class is the hatching is of 2 types. So what is that? So that we have to understand, it is called as associative hatching. So here the options are given here. So you can go for the separate hatches, or you can go for island detection. So these are the various options, and at present the associative hatching was now associative boundaries was highlighted. You can see that for this particular hatch pattern, so this command is active. Now I will click here. Now the associative command was now gone. Now here you can just see that I have selected, but this is not associative. So you have to make the associative hatch on or off. So that also you have to remember from this option dialog box. Here the hatch edit, that dialog box appears here. So there are 2 options are there. How this dialog box was appeared now? You have to go to this option menu for hatch command. So hatch setting, it is called as hatch setting. In the hatch setting, you get this dialog box. So all these things are also here in the 2013 and 2007 version. The ribbon bar is not there, this hatch editor, but instead of that we are using the hatch dialog box. So in this hatch dialog box, you can just see that there are different options are there for the boundary. So here you can see that there is a associative hatching. So you can just see that. So this you can separate, or you can annotative, or you can associative. So this type of hatchings you can have here. So you can check these changes from here. So with this you can change the pattern or hatch pattern or scale. So everything you can just do with this. Now I will just click here, pick a point, and I will click here, pick a point, and now you can see that the hash pattern was now happening, and I will press enter. So again here, so this type of hatching was done. So this hatching has again one of the important thing that you have to track. Now because here I have done the hatching, so this hatching was, I have closed that option here. So you can just see that the non-associative hatch type boundaries using the boundary grips to stretch or add or remove. So this option was we have used here. So this is called as non-associative hatching. Now what I have done, because I have closed this associative hatching option. So what happened here, what advantage I will get? So we will just check out that. So in this hatch pattern also, you can see the associative pattern is on. Associative pattern is on. Now here I will adjust the scale 20, enter. Now here is also hatching and here is also hatching. But here all the grips are appearing. But here the grips are not appearing. So that is the important thing. Now what I will try to do, I want to, I will just again, we will change the scale. At least I need it little bit larger. So yes, now it is clear hatch. Now this hatch is, you can just check out here associative hatch. But for this hatch pattern, I have closed that associative hatch pattern property. So where the controlling of that hatch pattern is associative or non-associative, so that you have to check out. So with this dialog box here, this is non-associative hatching. So you can just check out here. So you can make it annotative also. So in this way, there are various options for the associative hatching. So this is yes. No here was there. So we can make it yes. So there are two options. So when I click here, associative hatching is yes. And when I click here, the associative hatching is no. So what is the difference between that? So that important difference you have to check out. Now in this first one, what I will do, I will select this circle. And now I will click on this grip. And by now you can just observe on the command line, the stretch command was appeared. So I will press and it is move command. Now I will move this circle. So you can just see that this circle I am moving, so automatically hatching pattern was getting changed. You can same do with the here rectangle. I have just selected and now I will try to resize this rectangle. So you can see that the hatching automatically adjusts with this. Here also in the you can see in the ellipse, I will just make this ellipse small. So accordingly, hatch pattern automatically changes. So therefore, this hatching is called as associative hatching. You can see, check here. Associative hatching is yes. But instead of that, you go here. So here it is showing that associative hatching is no. What happens here? So in this such cases, suppose I will select this circle and I will move this circle. So what happened to this? So you can check out that the hatching pattern does not change. Here also we can change the size of the ellipse, but you can just say that the hatching pattern remain as it is. And here also we can change this rectangle shape, but in that hatching will not change. So this important thing you have to remember. So this is associative hatching. So this is always required in our building drawing. Means whenever you try to edit any drawing, so hatch pattern will automatically get adjusted according to that drawing. So there are some advantage and disadvantages, but most of the time we must use the associative hatching. And but in some cases, suppose you want to write some of the text here, so in such case you can do this type of non-associative hatching. So now here what I will do, you can just check out here. So I will delete all this object. Now suppose I want to write down text here and I don't want their hatching. So I will just draw one of the rectangle. And now what I will do, I will go to hatch command. And now I will select the pattern as ANSI. And now I will just pick point and I will click here. And I will close this associative button. Remember that you have to close. By default, associative hatching is on. By default, associative hatching is on. Now you have to close that. Now I have closed that. And then I will close this dialog box. So now this is non-associative hatching. Now with this non-associative hatching, what happens? I can delete this rectangle. And then the hatch pattern does not change. And now here you can add some of the text here for our particular drawing if you require. So I will just type here propose construction. This I want to write down. So I have just selected here, and then you can change the height of that. So I will make it 250, enter, and then close the editor. And you can see that, so this I have selected. I can also make this as a middle center. Yes. So is you require such type of writing some case. So for such type of hatching, you want to delete the internal rectangular boundary of this hatch. So in such case, you have to use non-associative hatching. So that is the important thing you have to remember for the today's session. So associative and non-associative hatching you have to carry out. So if you want to make it associative, so you can check it from this property dialog box. Here, the associative hatching was there. You can make it yes or you can make it no. So that important thing you have to remember again. Now another thing is that you can also have a suppose you can just go here. So another thing is annotative. Annotative, you can make it yes or no. So this is another important thing you have to remember. So by default, now I have made the annotative yes. So annotative yes. So here now I select this. So for this, I will make it yes. So you can just check out this. So annotative is now on. So that also is the one of the option. So in such case, suppose now I will delete this. And now there is what text was written here. And now what I will do? I will go to hatch command, select this pattern and click here and enter. So now this is also called as annotative hatching, means if you are having any text, so that text was automatically get boundaried. You have to remember, see that, because here this we have make the annotative no, so automatically it is getting boundary. We can also make it in some another drawing. We will just try it. So I will just draw here one circle. Here one circle, and now this text we will make it here. Yes, now this is a simple text, and now we will try to hatch. So make it hatch, and now select this ANSI pick point. You can just see that the hatch pattern was automatically adjusting the text, means you require here the annotative is should be no, that you have to remember, otherwise it will get overlapped, and that lettering also get overlapped by the hatching pattern. So in that way you have to understand the what annotative hatching you require or not, specifies or whether not the hatch is annotative. So these two important things you have to remember. The hatch pattern may be associative or annotative, or you can make it of annotative and associative. So these things you have to remember. With this also, there are few other options are available in the in the hatch command, and they are about the next upcoming commands. That is one of the gradient. Now we have seen that when we go to hatch command, so there are various patterns are there. If you want to fill the solid color, so you can choose for the solid pattern, or you can choose a hatching pattern for the simple hatching. Then you can have a cross sectional brick masonry, UCR masonry cross section, and there are so many other cross sections are there. In even for the elevation of the brick masonry also you can use these type of patterns are available. But now with this, there are some gradient color options are available. So now that we will see today. Now, suppose you want to draw a graphical drawing where you want to fill some of the colors. So in such case, there you can have a different color combination. So just I will now make it here one of the drawing. I am just drawing at randomly here because we want to use some of the gradient option here. We will just move this circle, and then we will have one elevation. I will just reduce this size of this. We can reduce the height of this. So this is one of the ellipse. So I am just drawing a random drawing here to see that what could be done for the color fields here. Now in this, you can fill the different color. So you want to make a collage for your drawing. So in such case, you can go to gradient option. So gradient option here, you can pick point. Suppose I have clicked it here. So you can just see that the gradient was happen, and that was there are various 9 patterns are there. So you can have a sphere pattern, or you can have a hemisphere pattern, or you can have a curved pattern, or you can have a just have the circular cover was there, and then you can have internal cover, or you can have a inverse curve. So there are various options regarding the filling of the color in what should way the filling should be there. So I will just use the first one, and I will click it here outside that. And the hatch pattern was there. Now we select this pattern. So here you can see that, so there are various options available. So you can change this. So this was the cylindrical, this was linear color, this was cylindrical color, this was then inverse cylindrical. So there these different options are there. So even this you can also select the colors also. So how to do that? So for that person you have to go for the this hatch editor. In the hatch editor, the pattern is now gradient, and now you can change the color. Instead of blue, you can make it red or yellow combination. So you can change the different yellow colors also. Yes. So in this way you can fill. Now in this pattern you require some another color. So I want solid color. So then I instead of that I have to use the hatch pattern, that is solid boundary. So I have to go up here. In the solid boundary you can just click it here and here and here. So this is a solid color you can fill. But you want to gradient color. So you can go to the gradient option and you click here, and now also you click here, or you can click it here. And once after the gradient was given, you go to the particular gradient. Now this gradient I want to change. So now you have seen that I have clicked it at once. So you can make it at the different combination. So we will just select and delete this. Now I will make it again, repeat that procedure. So I will go here, and now I will click it here, and I will end the command. Now hatch pattern I have ended. Now only this area was hatch. Now again I will go to gradient, and then at this time I will click here and press enter. So you see that this gradient pattern is separate here and this is separate here. If you click at once many number of points, then all hatch was get mixed. So that you have to remember here. Now here I will make it again hatch command and click here and press enter to close the command. So every time I am clicking one pick point and then closing the hatch command, and then again starting that same gradient command, and now again I am clicking the point somewhere here. So in such way you can just separate all these things. So all these 4 hatchings are different, though they are having same color shade. You can just check out that. So instead of that, suppose I have made the copy of this. I have made the move and copy here. And now we will delete this blue hatch. So I have deleted this. Here also deleted. And this is also deleted. And now I will click pick point at once. So at all the 4 places, I will click simultaneously. So I will go to gradient command, and now I will click it here, 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 and here. And now press enter. So you can see the difference is that here the blue shade is appearing from this edge to this edge. Means that all objects are different, but the hatching was one. Hatching was one. The object was different. But here in this case, every boundary is different. So this hatching was different. This hatching was different. So if you try to edit this, and you will go to here, I will change the color now, red. So you can see that in the whole the boundary, your color pattern was changes. Now you can just check out that. So this is the difference. But here you can separately change that. So you can select that boundary and you can change the color of So we will just check red and yellow. Now I will go here and I will make it cylindrical. In the cylindrical, I will make that instead of red, I will make it green. And instead of yellow, I will make it little bit pink. So this pattern was different. So here also you can select that. So again, you can change the pattern also. Here you can just have this circular pattern, cylindrical circular pattern, or inverse hemisphere, or this type of shaded. You can go for that. So this again you have to remember while using the gradient option. So this gradient option, you have to click pick point for every separate boundary. So that is the tip here. For every separate boundary, you have to pick point, hatch that, and close the hatch command. Again start the gradient command, again pick the point. So you have to see that don't click number of pick points simultaneously while using the hatch or gradient command. So that is the learning for the today's lesson. That important learning you have to remember. So you have to check the pick point every time for a simple different plan. So every area you have to click hatch and close the command. Pick, hatch and close the command. Pick, hatch and close the command. So if you are not doing that, so it is not easy to edit that. If you try to go to edit, so all the editing will happen. Or if you want to delete the, now here you can just see that I will just select this hatch word and I will delete. So you can see that in a whole part, the hatching was deleted. But instead of that, here I can select this one and I can click, because here every time I have separate hatching I have done. So they are not attached to each other. So because the pick point I have clicked here separately for the separate boundary. But here we have selected the number of 4 pick points at a time, so that all hatch pattern was get attached to each other. So that difference also you have to remember while using the hatch command. I hope that till you have learned the very important thing about the hatch command that were not generally taught in the most of the AutoCAD classes. They only just show you the different types of pattern and go and hatching, and then you will find out there are so many difficulties when you require to edit the hatch, to change the scale of the hatch pattern, to make the associative or annotative hatch pattern. So all these things are required by the expert user. So I hope that you are enjoying this. So to know the more tip and the extra important command about the hatch and gradient command, just type I for interested in the chat box, and then we will proceed. Otherwise, we will stop here for the today's session. So I was just want to require the intervention from your side. If you are interested to learn more important things about the hatch command, then type I for interested in the chat box. Guys, quick response in the chat box. Type I for interested in the chat box. So there are so many participants. So you have to comment I in the chat box or yes in the chat box, so that I will understand you are learning here, you are noting down some of the important things here. And then this is very important to understand about the hatch command. Now another important thing now, just we will look after. So there are only 2 responses were given. Other participants, I am waiting for your response. So type I in the chat box for interested and we will proceed further. So another important command here given in the draw dialog box, here you can just see that in the draw panel, one is hatch that we have seen now, and the another is gradient that also we have seen. Now we will proceed with the boundary. You can just see that in the gradient of command, the more it is about given that this type of lake I have drawn. So in the lake, there is a color pattern, water shade color. So that this type of color gradient shade you can apply in the in the plan or wherever it require. So only 2-3 people have given the interested option here, I for interested. So guys, I hope that now another important question that you have to answer in the tomorrow's lecture, and that is where the gradient command is used in building drawing. The question is, I will just type the question in the chat box, where gradient hatch option is used in the building drawing. So meanwhile, if you remember the answer, you can type your answer. At the end, we will see the answer of this question. Gradient hatching command हम लोग building drawing में कहाँ इस्तेमाल करते हैं? Where do we use the gradient color hatch option in our building drawing? So that you have to answer. So you just find your answer and type in the chat box your correct answer is expected. And then at the end of this session, I will tell you the answer where this is useful, and you can create a fantastic end result with this gradient hatch option. Now the another important thing you must learn about the this hash pattern, and that is boundary command. That this is very much required. Now this boundary command is required many times, and that is the most essential requirement. What happens? Suppose I will just have one of the line here. Then I will just another draw one line here, and then I will use this one circle here. I am just drawing it at randomly. Yes, this one circle, and then we will have one rectangle also. Yes, one rectangle, and then we will have one ellipse also here. Yes, so now this way, whatever now we have done, but now what I want to do, I want hatching here in this part. But sometimes that hatching does not happen because there are different objects are there, and these objects may have some gaps. So in such case, what is required that you want to edit this hatch pattern, or you want to copy this area and you want to create a separate drawing out of this. So whatever this internal area was there, I am showing it here. So this I want to select. So this is not actually what is happening here. If you want to draw this type of boundary, so that boundary is not easy to draw with the line command. So that is also one of the important thing. So to create the boundary out of this, so there is a simple command, and that is boundary. So here you can just click on the boundary command, and now you have to have an option of pick point. So click on the pick point, and now you click inside here. Now here you have to remember important thing. I have just click it here. So you can just see that this one of the boundary is automatically get highlighted. So this is the boundary, and then I will press enter. And now the polyline boundary could not be delivered. So it is asking me to create a region. So there again, you have to see that. So I have to give the option that to create a region. So I will just at this time, I will say yes. So what happened now? You can just check out that this was the separate boundary was created. Now you can copy this, or you can move this boundary separately. So means if there are so many drawings are there, they are overlapping with each other, and with the internal area, you want to create this type of closed boundary. Remember that this is a closed boundary. So this is actually a region. You can just note down this in the command line. So this is a region. So this type of command boundary you want to create. So in such case, you can use this boundary command. Now I will just make some changes. I will delete this ellipse, and I will add one line here. And now we will try that boundary command. So you will go here, click on the boundary command, and now click on the pick point, and now click here and press enter. That's all. The steps are very simple. So you just start this. So at this now moment, you can just see that this is a boundary created. So there is a difference. Now here is the same boundary I have created. Now this is boundary also I will move here separately. So you can just check out that now both the drawings are same. Only here the ellipse portion was there. Here I have drawn the straight line, but instead of that, the AutoCAD has created the region. This is a region. And here the AutoCAD has created the polyline. You have to check out that this is the polyline. So this was done by the boundary command. So with the boundary command, you have to remember, you have to create the region, or you can create a boundary. So this is the very important thing. Now we are going to learn in the advanced version, in the upcoming lectures, we are observing about that how to create these type of objects in the 3D drawing. So if you want to at all learn the creation of the 3D building model in the AutoCAD, so in such case, to have a complicated shape like arch or a designer pillar, or there are some circular shapes or a flower pot, or this type of many objects you want to show in your building interior. You want to create a designer sofa. So in such cases, you need the different types of shapes, and that shapes you not need to convert into 3D. So in that case, you require the boundary option. Unless and you don't have a boundary using polyline command, so you cannot convert this 2D object into 3D object. So that is the another important learning today. To create the 2D object into 3D, to convert 2D drawing into 3D, you require to draw the 2D drawing by using polyline. So that is the important tip here. Always you have to remember, if you have prepared a plan and you want to create a 3D model having a wall and all these things, so all the wall lines and all the 2D drawing you have to create with the polyline command. Therefore, the polyline command is also separate. So in such case, you want to convert the same simple lines into polylines, and for that the simple command is boundary command. So what happens if there are number of objects are there? Now I will just draw one line here again. We will just see that. Now you can see that these are the objects. So I will just draw these lines end to end. Yes. Or you just, we will keep it as it is only. Okay, no problem. And now with this, I want one of the polyline. So what you will do, simple user, what you will do, he will go to polyline command and click here, 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 and draw a polyline. So that is not the way. The way is simple. You go to boundary command, pick point, click inside this area, press enter, and that's all. Your polyline boundary was automatically generated. So dear friends, this is very much required for surveying plans where you want to calculate the accurate area. So in the upcoming lectures, we will see that how to calculate the area and volume of the various objects. So to make the calculation of area also, you want closed boundary object. This is a closed boundary object, and this is a particularly a polyline. So that is another condition for the area command. The boundary must be a closed, and it should be drawn with the polyline command, so that it should be selectable at once. एक ही बार में आपको सिलेक्ट करते आना चाहिए वो एरिया. So in the area command also, you require to use this boundary command, and then you also require to use this boundary command for converting 2D object into 3D drawing. So for that also you require close polyline boundary. So to convert this type of 2D lines into a close polyline boundary, you have to use the boundary command that you have to remember. So create a region or a polyline from the enclosed area. So you can see in the demonstration. So this is a survey plan having various bearings and sides of that, and the upper drawing that you can see that the boundary is curved shape. So whenever there is a curved boundary, so you cannot directly apply the formula for area calculation. So you have to see that if it is a rectangle or a polygon or a rhombus or a trapezium or a triangle, so you have a formula, direct formula you can use for the calculation of the area. But as you can just see that there is a curve area, so area calculation become complicated. So in such cases, to apply the or to calculate the area, you have to require a closed boundary that should be a selectable at once. So it should be drawn with the polyline only, and it is not easy to draw a polyline over the existing drawing, and there may be some difference into that. So to automatically generate the polyline, the boundary command is used. So that boundary command, you have to remember that you have to go to this boundary command, and whatever the shape was there, you pick point, click inside the area, press enter, and you just see that the separate boundary was created. The original drawing was as it is. Now you can just check out this. So this is the separate drawing. So this is a separate drawing boundary created, and this was a selectable at once, and that is a polyline that you have to remember. In the properties option box, it is polyline. So that is the important about the boundary command. So I hope that the another small command was remaining, and that command I will just start it from here in the command line, and that is about region, region command. So in the region, it is saying that select object. So now I will select this object. So you can just see that the one found, then I will press enter, and now you can just see that one region created, it was given here, one region was created. So you will just check out that. So this was the region created, and you can just make it move again here, separate. So same thing you have done. This you have done with the boundary command. So you can just see it is showing polyline, and this you have done using the region command. So this is a region. So that you have to remember the difference in the properties are there. So there are the difference in the properties. Here you can change the thickness of the polyline. You can edit these, and so many options are available here. Global width and all these properties are available. But because this is a polyline, and you can convert this polyline into 3D object. You can convert this polyline into 3D object because it is a closed polyline drawn by the boundary command. But you cannot create a region. So this is a region. So you just clearly written here region. So region is also same thing looking. Drawing में आपको दोनों भी एक जैसे दिखेंगे. So this is also same. This is also same. But by going into properties, this is a region. This is not more useful to us. But this is a boundary. This is useful to us. So now here, in such case, while hatching, you require this type of close boundaries. So that is the another important tip. जब भी आपका हैच हो नहीं रहा है, इसका मतलब क्लोज बाउंड्री आपको नहीं मिल रही है. So whenever you are trying to hatch, AutoCAD is not finding a close boundary. So to create a close boundary inside a particular area, you have to use the third option, that is boundary command. Click pick point and click inside anywhere in the area, and you will get that boundary automatically created, and just boundary was created, and that was a one polyline. You can see here, this is a separate polyline I have generated. So that is the important thing here. So with this, so many important things now we have learned about the hatch command, then gradient command, and that is boundary command. So we will stop for the today. Now the it is the question answer part. So I hope that you have find out the answer for where the gradient hatch option is used in building drawing. So one user has given the answer, that is gradient hatch is used in the presentation, but that is I am asking about the building drawing, not in the presentation. So if anybody has having answer, you just type in the chat box your answer, or otherwise you can type n no in the chat box. Means most of you are not knowing the answer of this question, so you can just type no n in the chat box, and then I will answer, and then we will close for the today's session. So guys, please give the answer of this, where gradient hatch option is used in the building drawing. I hope that there are so many intelligent participants are here present in this meeting, Zoom meeting, and so you can just Ankit was there, Atharva was there, Prashik Kamble was there, Sakshi Nanya was there, and there are so many students are there, those who have left the meeting today. So they are also, I am waiting answer from their side. So any other answer? So most of the people respond in the chat box. Please respond. So the answer you are not indicating in the chat box. So the simple answer I will just give you, and we will close for the today's session. Meanwhile, if you like this online learning AutoCAD with me, so you can just type your feedback, like or fantastic or wonderful or amazing or interesting or best or thank you, and so many feedbacks also you can give in the chat box. So the answer to this question is where the gradient hatch option is used in the building drawing. So guys, we create the building elevation. So in the building elevation, we can give the different colors to the object. So 2D elevation में आपको 3D इफेक्ट दिखाना है और कलर वगैरह उसको बना के अच्छा एक 3D फोटोग्राफ बनाना है बिल्डिंग का एलिवेशन का. So to show the 2D elevation in the colorful representation, we have to use the gradient hatch option. So you just try that in elevation of the building, how you can use the gradient and make that elevation fantastic. So that was the today's learning. So I hope that you have enjoyed the today's session, and so long session was there. It was so many important things now today we have learned. So thank you once again for joining this online class, and we will stop for the today's session. Thank you once again.